Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy Vic Slain Hope. And I got another video for y'all. Another law of the 48 laws of power. This one is law number 40. We're almost done, y'all. Despise the free lunch. I'm going to read the judgment for y'all real quick. It says, what is offered for free is dangerous. It usually involves either a trick or a hidden obligation. What has worth is worth paying for. By paying your own way, you stay clear of gratitude, guilt, and deceit. It is also often wise to pay the full price. There is no cutting corners with excellence. Be lavish with your money and keep it circulating, for generosity is a sign and a magnet for power. This one is a very lengthy one. I'm going to try to summarize it because I don't want to go too long. But before I get into the descriptions and the explanations, you already know what to do. If you like my content, if you're rocking with me, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share it with somebody who you feel like might benefit. And make sure you leave a comment in the description below so we can keep the conversation rolling and I can hear your thoughts. So boom, let's get into it right now because this one is a very good one. Now, oftentimes when it comes to the realm of power, right, everything is judged by what it costs. And oftentimes it's usually money, but it doesn't mean that it's always money that is what you're paying with, right? But it's very important to understand how money and power kind of like go hand to hand, right? And one of the major things that it says right here, the powerful learn early to protect their most valuable resources, which is independence and room to maneuver, right? By paying the full price, they keep themselves free of dangerous entanglements and worries. Now, in the beginning of the judgment, it says what is offered for free is dangerous because it usually involves a trick or it has a hidden obligation, right? Like a lot of times when people give you something, like it's very, 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 very rare that somebody is giving something for nothing, for no reason at all. And even if they're giving and they don't expect nothing in return, they're doing it for like a sense of self-gratification. So they kind of like still doing it for something, right? That's making them feel good or they expecting something in return. And a lot of times people use the trick of, it's called the strategic generosity, right? Which is like an old trick of giving when you're about to take. This is something that they usually do. That's what they tell you in prison, right? They do the thing where like they tell you don't take no cupcakes from people. They tell you don't take no drugs. They tell you don't take soda. Don't take anything that somebody try to give you in prison because it's the strategic generosity, the fake generosity. Like I'm gonna act like I'm looking out for you, but in reality, I'm trying to get them buns. You know, this is what the booty bandits do. You know, they give you things, they act generous, and then you collect the debt, and then they usually want something in return that is usually worth more than what they gave you, right? So that's just a prime example of strategic generosity. Another one is, I don't know if you have seen the movie Troy. In the movie Troy, they gifted the Trojan horse, right? So the horse was able to get into the city. It was a fake act of generosity, right? Tricking of somebody, making them think like, oh, they're being generous. They're giving me something. You give it to them. And then in the middle of the night, it was soldiers inside the horse. They hopped out of the horse and they took over the city, right? Another thing that happens is sometimes guys, when they go out, they buy women drinks. They give them drinks. And some women might think like, oh, he's just being a nice guy. It's, again, strategic generosity. Some of these dudes do this in order to have your time to talk. Some of these dudes do this in order to get a dance out of you. Some of these dudes do this to take you home, right? It's very, very rare that a guy is really just doing that just cause. It doesn't necessarily mean he wants sex, but he plans on probably getting something. Maybe it's a conversation, maybe it's a dance, or maybe it's sex. So anyway, there is 4 different types of these different type of people, right? And I'm gonna break them down when it comes to this, right? So the first one is the greedy fish. The greedy fish. And the greedy fish is usually the person that he don't care about nothing but money. He don't care how he gotta get it. He don't care what he gotta do for it. He's just worrying about the stat sheet. right? Nobody really wants to work with these people because they are so money driven. A lot of times they don't got no principles. A lot of times they don't got no morals, and they'll go to whatever extent. Just their greed leads them to so many different areas, right? That sometimes they oftentimes get jammed up because they just not thinking straight. They're just chasing the money, right? So a lot of times they're easy to deceive, and they spend too much time dealing with the numbers, right? And they don't really realize that they become so blind to psychology and morale because they're just chasing the money because they're greedy. So these are the people who are easy to influence, to get them to take the free lunch, right? This is the easiest people to deceive and get them to do whatever you want them to do for you because they chasing the money. But a lot of times you can't really trust them because they only think about the money. So when the next person shows up that could possibly offer them more money, they will sell you to the highest bidder. The next person is the bargain demon. Now, the bargain demon is the person who is always looking for the coupons, is always looking for the deals. This is your friend that when you're trying to sell them a shirt or when you're trying to sell them a sweatsuit, they always want a deal. Or they always be like, yo, give me a deal, man. Like, this is the person that, like, if you go to this place to get seafood, they be like, yo, we could have went to the other place and got it for cheaper. Like, they always complaining about money, and they always trying to get the cheaper product. They always want the discount. This is the bargain demon, right? A lot of times, these people don't even realize that every time you're looking for something cheaper, a lot of times it comes with more defects. A lot of times it comes with more problems. A lot of times it's going to cost you more money in the long run. This is the dudes that they're not going to go to this mechanic, but they're going to go to this other mechanic because he's cheaper. And then next thing you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line, he got to go back to the mechanic because they didn't fully fix his car right because he was looking for a cheap deal. This is the bargain demon. You got to stay away from these people. It's okay to look for deals from time to time, but if you're an individual that is always complaining about the money you gotta spend money for quality sometimes. Sometimes you gotta spend that little high-end money to get the best person to fix your car or get the best type of material or whatever it is that you're trying to get. The next person is this, the sadist, right? The sadist is the person who tries to, they get a kick out of like making people suffer due to the money. This is the type of person that like, they might owe you money, but you gotta chase them, right? You gotta do a lot of work to try to get your money, right? This is the person that is kind of like they use money to kind of like cause some type of like, I don't want to say pain, but they cause this type of like if somebody owe you money and I gotta keep calling you. Like if you told me you was gonna pay me next week and I gotta chase you around, I gotta keep calling you, you keep telling me to wait when you told me you was gonna give me the money. Like they just cause a hassle for you to get your money, right? Cause your inconvenience. This is what they do, and to them they feel like they have the power because it's like, you're gonna have to wait. You want your money? You're gonna have to wait. Like, so they feel like they are empowered in that situation, even though they owe you the money. It's also the people who they might hire you for a job, and because they hire you, they feel like they gotta be on top of you, or they gotta be harassing you about the work, like, or you know, just so they just very annoying when it comes to like money. So they play these vicious power games when it comes to money, when it comes to paying you, and etc. and so forth. The last person is the indiscriminate giver. Now, generosity is definitely a function to power, but then you have some individuals who they just give to everybody. They just give indiscriminately, right? They don't give with a purpose. Like when you give, you're supposed to give with a purpose and a strategy, and to trying to receive something in return, like influence, like power, like social acceptance, etc. But you have the people who just give. They just give their money. It don't matter to who. They do it for anybody and everybody. They don't do it for any special reasons. They're just very careless. So this is the person that you got to try to avoid. So I'm going to go into a few examples. That was just like the 4 examples of the 4 different type of people when it comes to money. Now the example that they gave in a book, it's talking about, they gave a few examples, but one of the examples that I'm gonna use is when this dude. So one of the examples from the book that I'm gonna use is, I'm gonna give 2 examples. One of the examples is a guy in Italy. He was a writer, and he understood how money works. So he moved to a new city. He moved to the city of Venice, and what he was trying. So when he got there, he didn't really know nobody. So he saved his money, the money that he had saved up. He used his money to give gifts to people in the high nobility. So he sent gifts to like kings, honorable people in the court. He sent them gifts because when you send people gifts, Generosity, it sparks the kind of like presence, influence, importance, right? Like for example, when you go to the club, and a dude be like, yo, get them dudes a bottle over there. You know, that's almost kind of like you building a relationship, you building a rapport. Like it's letting them know, like the wealthy people kind of like used to do this. So that's just an example that I'm showing. Like if somebody is willing, if somebody's sending like a bottle, depending on the bottle, it don't even matter. But if somebody send, let's say somebody send a bottle of Ace of Spades to your table, right? Or they send 2 bottles. That's a sign of kind of like wealth, right? This is just something that the people used to do back in the days. They used to send gifts, and the gifts kind of like gives this perception that you are in the same level as the people. Like if I was to send, let's say I go to a club and the artist is there, and I send that artist, let's say I just send Jay-Z like 2 bottles, right? Jay-Z got the money, he got the bread, right? But it's a rapport, it's a certain and I think I'm getting the word that I'm trying to, but it just almost speaks that like, yeah, I'm just like you feel me? Like so it will probably make me look like I'm almost of the same status of him, even though he's a billionaire, he might know, but it just creates this vibe, this energy that I see you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my, so it creates influence. It creates rapport. So this is one of the things that he used to do. He used to gift people that were higher than him. But when he did this, he made it seem like he was in the same level as him. And what happens is the rich people kind of like return the favor. The people. So this is how you use your wealth and your money to kind of like circulate it around, right? And he did this with a few people. He gave this person this. He gave this person that. And all of these people were above him. But what he did was, he created the illusion, or he created the sense that he was this noble person, even though he belonged to a family of the lower structure. His father was a shoemaker. By giving money, by being generous with your wealth to the people who are above you, you create the sense that you're in the same realm as them, if that makes sense. So this is what he did. And in return, a lot of people was gifting him stuff. A lot of people was also sharing gifts with him, would allow him to live a better life than he was already living, because people sense that. So all he basically was doing, he was receiving and giving it back out. Like they often say, it takes money to make money, right? A lot of people be having this complex of getting rich quick, and that's how the greedy fish gets caught a lot of times, because people have this sense of, I'm gonna get rich quick. This is why a lot of people play lotto. This is why a lot of people get caught up in them scams, right? When you lust over money, and this is why the scammers be so good, because they know people are lusting over money. So when you get into like, when these dudes tell you like, yeah, just give me your bank account numbers, and this goes back to the beginning. No, don't take none for free. What is offered for free is dangerous. A lot of times you get a dude hit you up in your DM, and he telling you like, yo, you want to make some free money? Ain't nothing free. They tell you that though. They say, you want to make some free money? You come through, you be like, yeah. They take your information, they take your social security, you know, they deposit some money into your account. You thinking it's free money, you giving them back some money, you keeping a cut, and you're not even realizing, man, your shit is getting fucked up, right? Your account might get closed. That shit might be on your record now, on your social security. Your credit gets messed up. It has higher implications. No such thing as free money. Like, it takes money to make money. But they know that people are in desperate need, right? They know that people are lusting for money, and then these people know how most people have this notion of they want to get free money. Most people are lazy, and most people want the easy way out. They want to cut corners. But the reality is, you cannot just cut corners when it comes to wealth. Usually, it takes money to make money and gain influence. Another example that they use in the book is another individual, a Rothschild, right? When he moved from Germany to France, and a lot of the people in France didn't really like the Jew. He was a Jew and a German, so a lot of people, they still had like animosity towards him, and he knew this, but he had a lot of money. So even though he had money, he didn't have the social acceptance from the people in the country that he lived in. So what he did was, he started to throw parties, right? He started to throw parties, and he threw a party every week, and it was a lavish party. He used to have a French chef, a lot of French other things going on. So it showed a display that he loved the culture, right? So now the French, if you know anything about the French people, the moment you speak their language, and this is most people, the moment you speak their language, the moment you like their culture, they feel like they can mess with you. It's almost like me. Sometimes when I go to certain places, and people know that I learned how to read Arabic, that I'm familiar with it, that I have a proper pronunciation, like Arabs kind of like gravitate towards me a little more, just because of the language. So language makes you part of the culture. And people know that you fucking with their culture, you like their culture, they will accept you, and it creates social acceptance. So this is what he did. He knew that they didn't really like him. He knew he had the money, but he had to buy. What he did was he used his money to throw these big parties every week. So you got to spend money to get things done, you know, a lot of times, right? So what he did was he spent money, and it gave him social acceptance from the people, because now he was known as that dude that be throwing the lit parties. How many dudes that we know are promoters, right? They cool people, and they use their money, right? And they use their money to gain influence, to throw parties, right? And now they're known as the dude that is lit. And now you got a whole circle. Now you got a whole network of people who vibe with you, just because you got social acceptance. So, and the last thing I would use is another example of me. For example, when I used to sell drugs, and this is another example of don't take the free lunch. When I used to sell drugs, I remember one time I tried to buy a QP from this dude, a quarter pound, right, of weed, and I was telling him like, yo, let me get a QP, right, and he was just like, nah, like he was like, nah, you good, bro? I'm gonna just give it to you. I'm gonna front it to you, and I was like, nah, like I wanted to buy it, because this is the whole point. It says this in the beginning. Make sure you pay in full, right? So I was trying to pay in full for the product, so I don't gotta be indebted to you. I don't gotta be connected to you in some type of way. And he was just like, nah, bro, I'm gonna give it to you. Just give me half back. And I was just like, all right, whatever. You know, I fell for it. I took it. But what started to happen is now he want to know how much I bagged up from the QP. He want to know what's the total. He want to know, yo, do you need more product? Oh, did you sell it? Did you this? Did you that? But see, this is what happens when you sit there and take the so-called free lunch, even though it wasn't free, because we was like kind of like partners. But this is what happens when people give you something and you don't pay for it. They feel like now you can oversee certain things. Now you can talk to me, you can question me about the certain things, and that's what I didn't want to do. So once I got the bread, I paid him his bread back, and that was that. Like, I just left that alone because I wanted my own freedom of mobility and my own independence, which is a rule that the powerful know. They know in order to have power in this game, in this world, you need your independence and your freedom of movement. Because a lot of times people are going to give you things for free. You see it all the time. People want to remind you all the time about the things that they did for you. They want to guilt you, right? Like when somebody do something for you, they want to be like, yo, you don't, that's fucked up, man, but I did the XYZ for you. And sometimes they don't even got to guilt you. Sometimes you just feel guilty because you took it. So this is the whole thing with the free lunch. When you don't take the free lunch and when you pay people, and oftentimes I do that too, right? Like, I don't like to borrow from people. I don't like to take from people, because then after that, some people try to use it. Some people try to remind you of it. And I don't want to feel guilty like I got to do something for you because you did something for me. So that's it, man, on this video. Let me know what y'all thoughts are in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace.